And we have just a few minutes left for Q&A, and then I'm going to close with some key highlights from this session today, which was really excellent. So I'm going to turn to some of the questions open in the Q&A chat. This one is for Janusz. The first one is on what is the percentage of risk and maximum tenor that KUKA is ready to cover. So Janusz, if you can answer that. There's a question in Ukrainian for Saint-Gobain about are you still working in Russia? And then there's a third question for IFC. Is the factor of a potential lender of ISC still operating in Russia, and importance of ISC to finance Ukrainian projects of such lenders and companies? So borrow, okay, he meant borrowers. And then a question for Kingspan. Do you use investment guarantees for the project to cover the risk of default due to war damages? So we'll start with maybe Janusz, can you answer the question on the tenor and risk coverage, please?
Sure. So thank you for the question. In terms of risks, so we do cover 100% of the political risk, and in terms of the commercial risk, so the credit risk, it's most probably 95%, but with certain ideas we can cover even 100. Along with the OECD rules, which we're in line with whenever doing the transaction all over the world. In terms of the tenor, it depends on the sector that the transaction is going to happen. But we are, even with the situation nowadays of Ukraine, where we might be happy to do it even up to 10 years, most probably.
Wonderful, thank you. The question for IFC, Alexander, I'm not sure maybe I understood it correctly. So I don't know if Olena wants to answer that. But I'll turn out to Kingspan, to Mike. Do you use investment guarantees for the project to cover the risk of default due to war damages?
We have engaged with some insurance, but specifically right now the answer is no today. But the plan would be that we would use some type and some form, and we've been in conversations with probably 3 different organizations that our group would interact with already.
So and then there's one last there's many other questions. I don't know if we can extend the webinar, but there's a question on construction companies and general contractors. What is your assessment of needs for current time and expectations from the EU in terms of activities? And then there is another question on modular buildings for temporary housing. So I don't know if anybody wants to take those 2 questions, and then I'm going to wrap it up with some key level findings. And so modular, and then general contractors questions. Maybe Serhii?
I'll take the modular. So today's event is about investment opportunities. If any company wants to invest and produce modular facilities in Ukraine, we are happy to support this. If the question is about selling of modular products to Ukraine, it's not connected to today's event. You can also contact us. We can give you a brief on that. But today's event is on investments, and we do have couple of requests from companies that are planning to build modular manufacturing facilities in Ukraine.
Yep. Vitaly, did you want to say anything?
Так. Саме питання по модульних будинках. Хочемо сказати, що у нас 39 компаній, які переїхали до області, релоковані, і 2 з них змінили повністю профіль діяльності з Харківської області, переїхавши в Рівненську, почали виготовляти модульні будинки. Це будинки для переселенців і спеціальні будинки для надання послуг по пранню, по душу, тобто такі мобільні пункти, санітарні будиночки, називаємо це. Тобто у нас є така вже практика, і ці підприємства активно здійснюють діяльність і готові до розширення своєї діяльності. Дякую.
So I am going to start closing. Thank you for that. I'm going to start closing the event. I'm cognizant of the time. I just want to say, you know, Ukraine is open for business now, and it will be a competitive market in the future. The strength of the Ukrainian people, you know, and the workforce has shown that, and the resiliency of the economy and the banking sector is, you know, it's a blessing. Ukraine has a big, not only domestic market, but, you know, it's also a good market for companies that are willing to export as well. So, you know, don't only look at Ukrainian, the domestic market, but it's also a market that, you know, you can export from. The issue is that now it's a good time to start planning. I mean, he has highlighted that, and because investments take, you know, 2 to 3 years just for the planning stage. There are partners in Ukraine that are, you know, have been working there for a long time. IFCs, DFIs such as IFC, I know EBRD also is working very strongly in Ukraine. MIGA, also part of the World Bank. We've heard from Kuke, who has never left Ukraine. And so there are areas such as project preparation, financing and insurance, which, you know, investors will need help. And of course, Ukraine Invest is ready to not only help with, you know, all the project preparation, but as Serhiy has mentioned, there are, you know, investment incentives and industrial parks in Ukraine to take advantage of. So, you know, Ukraine again is open for business, and, you know, we hope that this presentation entices more people to really come to Serhiy and others with investment projects in Ukraine. Lastly, I want to really thank the supporters and partners of this webinar today, of the FIT webinar, the American Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine, the European Business Association, the German Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Rebuild Ukraine International Exhibition Conference, Polish Investment and Trade Agency, Polish Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, IFC Europe and Central Asia, CSIS, Advantage Austria, Reach 4, Comparic, Confederation of Builders of Ukraine, Rivne Regional State Administration, BGTV, Advocates, Associates, and Fund MAL, and of course, you know, all our excellent presenters today, and all our participants. Thank you so much for, you know, for taking the time, and I hope we can distribute these presentations to everybody after we close.